Hi there! Today we're going to be talking about dark patterns and how companies use this to exploit you. My name is Steve, this is TQA Weekly, and this term is often used to describe activities that corporations would engage in the future. In futuristic shows like Continuum, or in futuristic games like Cyberpunk 2077. Where corporations have basically taken over of everything and have basically owned you and have all of your information. The thing is that's not a futuristic thing. The use of dark patterns for companies being exploited is happening right now, and it's been happening for a while. These dark patterns are behaviors taken by companies, mainly in a sense that seems seemingly positive, but they have data collection or revenue-driven policies behind them, because these are tactics that are used to emotionally manipulate them. And the easiest way to identify them is to understand some of these very dark patterns. The first one that I need you to understand is personalized advertisements. They will be under the guise of having more accurate advertisements geared towards things that you are interested in. Meaning that if you were just looking for information about cats, even though you are currently focusing on solving a technical problem, you will continue to be served information on cats because that is what they have just learned. And given more time, they'll have all sorts of advertisements geared to various factors of your life. All things that you may be interested in, but not at that given time. A second one is the idea of going to a website, starting to shop, and being like, it's too expensive. What we call the abandoned shopping cart. There are a lot of services out there right now that focus heavily on getting the shopper back to the website to look at the shopping cart and tell them to go and buy the products in one way or another. Being told that your items are still available to purchase repeatedly is one of these infamous dark patterns, but it goes a little bit further. There are services like Amazon that have the ability to purchase things later. So you can drop it from the shopping cart and purchase things later, as well as having wish lists. And we all know companies that have these things. All of these function under the same emotion-driven pattern that they use to exploit our emotions. Hey, I know you just dropped this shopping cart. How about you come back and we'll take off another 5% on something? This is one of those dark patterns. This is one of those ways that they're like, well, you weren't going to buy it at $200, but maybe we can lock you in at $195 or $190 and still charge you through the nose for shipping. You might not look at the shipping cost as much as you will look at the shopping cart itself. Then there's also other factors that have to do with the user interfaces. Pop-up advertising, where you can't close it easily, or there's a timer, or it's just basically blocking the page because you have an ad block enabled. Companies are going to try to force themselves around it and try to get you to either disable the ad blocks or actually click on the links by accident because the little close sign is too hard to click on. This will collect information about you and generate revenue at the same time. This is a very, very bad thing, and it's a bad precedent, and it's been happening for a really long time. But on top of that is the addition of timers like I just said in the ads. Imagine getting an email from a company saying that we've got this promo for you, but it expires in the next 5 minutes. What do you normally do when you want to buy something? You might take 10, 15, 20 minutes to research that. They might be aware that's how much time that you might be taking to buy any single item. Well versed in everything about it. But they're like, I've got another thing for you and you can get it cheap, but you have to buy it now. Not giving you the time to research the product, research any of the ratings, see what other people on other platforms think, and even search the pros and cons on this model versus another one. This is locking you with your emotions on an item with a sense that you're about to get basically a deal on something, which is not necessarily true. It is one of those dark patterns exploited against your emotions by companies. And it is something that is very detrimental to your wallet, but very positive for companies. Companies will take advantage of your emotions in this way. The next thing that we need to basically focus on is the need to register. Now, it is possible that registering for a website doesn't impose any significant risk to yourself. In fact, even my websites record information, encrypt it, and never once have I sold any of that information. But that is rare in today's world. There are many more companies out there that are willing to sell your information, including your cell phone company, your ISPs, and all that, even if you're already paying for that service. So it's worth, the time to read the terms of service as well as the privacy policy to see what they're going to do with that information in the end. And make sure that you continue to be aware of what's happening as their privacy policies and terms of service evolve with time. There are plenty of other ways that companies are going to exploit you emotionally and see what works and doesn't work. And if you're thinking this episode is a joke, look at the number of times Facebook itself has been caught doing this very specific thing, using information provided by the users, creating experiments on people, running them against groups of people to see their emotional reactions, and then taking that data and then selling it to third parties in one way or another so that they can better exploit you. We live in a world of dark patterns. It is time for us to see the light and understand what's going on. So anything that you see out there that is meant specifically to target you emotionally is one of these dark patterns exploited against you by corporations and companies. The only person who actually benefits from all this is them. And that is an issue. Like this episode if you like it, dislike it if you didn't, share with those that think benefit from this, and don't forget to subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions for topics, email me at ask@tqaweekly.com or go to my website, tqaweekly.com, where you can see the show notes on this episode, past others, find other ways of subscribing, and of course, use the contact form to email me directly. And if you want to see me play video games such as Cyberpunk 2077, a place riddled with dark patterns, head over to twitch.tv/ZAxis1981, where I play every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.